As we reflect on the lives of the 12 apostles, we can see that their journey with Jesus was filled with both triumphs and ultimate sacrifices. Today, let's focus on the first 6 apostles who gave their lives for the gospel, starting with the one who was the first to die for Christ. James, the son of Zebedee, was one of the first disciples called by Jesus. A passionate and bold follower, James was part of Jesus' inner circle, along with his brother John and Peter. His zeal for Christ would lead to a tragic yet honorable death. In 44 AD, King Herod Agrippa I ordered James's beheading in Jerusalem, Acts 12:2. James was around 44 to 50 years old at the time. His death was a testament to the early church's struggle and willingness to stand firm in faith, even in the face of death. Next, we remember Philip, who, like many apostles, traveled far to spread the gospel. Tradition tells us that Philip traveled to Hierapolis in modern-day Turkey, where he continued to preach the good news. For his unwavering commitment to the message of Jesus, Philip was crucified around 80 AD. He was approximately 80 years old at the time of his death. His story reflects a lifetime of dedication to the spread of the gospel, and his martyrdom came as no surprise, given his bold proclamation of Christ. Then there is Matthew, the former tax collector who became one of Jesus' disciples. Known for his account of Jesus' life, the Gospel of Matthew, he shared the story of Jesus with a powerful, unique perspective. Tradition holds that Matthew was martyred in Ethiopia, possibly by being stabbed or beheaded. Matthew's life was transformed from a man collecting taxes to a man sharing the riches of God's kingdom, and he continued his mission until the end. He was around 60 to 70 years old at the time of his death. James the Less, son of Alphaeus, is often overshadowed by his more famous counterpart, James the Greater, but his faithfulness was no less significant. This apostle was known for his humble character and commitment to Jesus. Tradition suggests that James the Less was stoned to death or thrown from a height in Jerusalem or Egypt. He was approximately 90 years old at the time of his death. His long life served as a testimony to his deep faith and the endurance required to lead the early church. Thomas, often remembered for his initial doubt, famously declared, "My Lord and my God," John 20:28, after Jesus' resurrection. His bold faith in Jesus led him on a missionary journey to India, where he faced harsh opposition. Thomas was speared to death for his commitment to preaching the gospel in India, around 60 to 70 years old. His life stands as a powerful testament to the fact that no amount of doubt or fear can outweigh the strength of Christ's truth once it is fully embraced. Thaddeus, also known as Jude, was another one of the apostles who spread the message of Jesus. Tradition holds that Thaddeus was martyred in Persia, where he was clubbed to death around 60 to 70 years old. Although his story is less well known, his unwavering dedication to spreading the gospel brought him to the farthest corners of the known world, where he ultimately paid the ultimate price for his faith. Deaths of these first 6 apostles were more than just the endings of their earthly lives. They were sacrifices made for the sake of the gospel. Each apostle, from James the Greater to Thaddeus, demonstrated unwavering faith, even when faced with death. Continuing our journey through the lives of Jesus' 12 apostles, we now look at the next 6 apostles who followed Jesus with unwavering faith and paid the ultimate price for it. Their stories show us the depth of commitment to the gospel, even in the face of persecution and death. Simon the Zealot, known for his passionate zeal for God's kingdom, traveled far and wide, spreading the message of Jesus. Tradition holds that he was crucified in Persia for his faith. His dedication to preaching the gospel, despite immense danger, is a testament to the boldness that characterized his ministry. Simon was approximately 60 to 70 years old at the time of his death. His sacrifice speaks to the cost of being a true follower of Christ and standing firm in the face of opposition. Matthias, chosen by the apostles to replace Judas Iscariot, continued the work of spreading the gospel. According to tradition, Matthias was stoned and then beheaded in Jerusalem for his commitment to Christ. While not much is known about his ministry, his death, around 60-70 years old, serves as a reminder that the apostles were united in their commitment to Christ, even after Judas's betrayal. Andrew, the brother of Peter, was known for his missionary zeal and spreading the gospel far beyond Jerusalem. Tradition tells us that Andrew was crucified on an X-shaped cross in Patras, Greece, around 60-70 years old. His death was particularly agonizing, as he was bound to the cross rather than nailed. Andrew's story is one of perseverance and courage, as he continued to preach Jesus' message from the cross until his last breath. Bartholomew, also known as Nathanael, was a missionary who traveled to various parts of the world to spread the gospel. Tradition holds that Bartholomew was flayed alive and then beheaded in Armenia, around the age of 60-70 years old. His death is one of the more brutal stories of martyrdom, symbolizing the harsh realities the early Christians faced. Yet, Bartholomew's willingness to endure such suffering for the sake of the gospel reflects the strength of his commitment to Christ. Judas Iscariot, known for his betrayal of Jesus, met a tragic end. After betraying Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, Judas hanged himself in remorse. Matthew 27:5. His age is uncertain, but he was likely around 30-40 years old when he died. The story is one of tragic fall from grace, and while his death was by his own hand, it serves as a warning about the dangers of turning away from God's plan. Lastly, we come to John, the beloved disciple of Jesus, who is the only apostle to die of natural causes. John was exiled to the island of Patmos in his later years, where he wrote the book of Revelation. He died in Ephesus around 90-100 years old. John lived a long life and was spared the violent death that claimed most of the other apostles. His natural death was likely due to old age, and his legacy as the author of the last book of the Bible continues to influence millions of Christians. The stories of these next 6 apostles remind us of the sacrifices made by those who boldly followed Jesus. Many gave their lives for the sake of the gospel, while others, like John, remained faithful to the end, leaving behind powerful writings that would shape Christianity. Deaths demonstrate the cost of discipleship and the eternal impact of living for Christ. The courage of these apostles challenges us to live with faith and conviction in our own lives. Also, stand firm, no matter the cost. If these stories inspired you, type Amen in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful Bible insights.